started out in theater performance as an actor, quickly realized that was not for me, and got into administration. So I've worked at a variety of theater companies of different sizes, and then most recently worked at an opera company. As a child, I did take piano lessons, and then I did take voice lessons through college as a little bit of supplement to my theater degree. I loved it, but and I think this is across many of the musicians, I'm sure, would agree, it's very, very personal. It is all of you out there all of the time being critiqued. It's a lot of pressure, and I also didn't quite have the personality for that lifestyle. I'm a little bit more, I need to manage, I need, to know my schedule. At the opera company, I was the company manager. The basics of my job were to take care of any and all guest artists, from travel to housing to contracts to getting them paid, just basically taking care of everything so that they could focus on their job and the performance and why we've hired them. The really neat thing about Virginia Opera is that they perform in 3 distinct markets. So another large part of my job was all of the logistics in getting over 100 people around the state of Virginia. The orchestra, the chorus, all of the singers, the technicians, the crew, the staff. So that was also quite a large part of my job. The chorus and the symphony were local. All of the guest artists came from sometimes all across the world. So I worked with quite a few different agents negotiating the contract. In opera, it's very much on an individual basis, catered to that particular person's background, their status. Ones that I absolutely hated to deal with were pets. It's very hard to find pet-friendly accommodations. At the opera, we tended to house people with hosts, with board members and donors within the community, so that's always difficult. I did have one that basically required us, when I worked in New Jersey at the theater company, required us to rehearse entirely in New York City, which is an hour train ride, and then just come down to New Jersey for performances. So that really kind of turned things on its head and cost a little bit of money. I did a lot of trade and sponsorship in order to get hotel rooms, flight, things like that. Yes. Luckily, I didn't have to directly solicit there. We actually get quite a bit of support through foundations, which is wonderful. And it's a lot more work, so many organizations don't quite tap into that. But the chamber players have great relationship with the foundations here. So government-wise, it's very strong as well. City of Atlanta. And one of our big initiatives is actually exploring more corporate sponsorships, which is more of my expertise. So I'm very excited about that. Technically, we do budget per performance, but then we do have that wiggle room when Elizabeth, our artistic director, comes down to the programming, that we can move within. But we do start with more of a per performance, depending on also size of venue. How many players can we fit on this stage? That's also how we do it. What we would love to do is explore a venue that we've not performed with, or one that has previously been outside our reach, so with a higher cost to rent that facility. I do, and I was in a conversation with someone, even the name itself, the Atlanta Chamber Players, people think, ooh, that's old music, old-fashioned, very stuffy, but it's a problem that staff and the board are completely well aware of. It's the reason we try to find new venues outside of churches. Now, we do perform in churches, some beautiful venues, but just trying to come into areas, come into their comfort zone. And our ticket prices are incredibly, incredibly affordable. At most, depending on the venue, it doesn't exceed $25 a ticket for a performance. So we definitely are aware of it and are trying our best to figure out how to do that. One of the things that Virginia Opera did incredibly well was they started very early. They boosted their educational programs. They toured their educational shows around the state. They started with, well, if we get them early, maybe that's something that they'll work into their lives as they get older. We are starting to plan. The next cycle is going to be in 1819. We actually are starting to plan it now, working with our national partners and just seeing how we can really broaden that reach and find the best of the best and make sure everyone, we reach everyone who would be interested in it. We invite actual guest judges. Now Robert Spano has been a guest judge, Michael Gandolfi. So we'll bring in folks to actually do the judging of the finals. I had one phone interview with the actual search committee. I ended up having 2 in-person interviews with the board chair. I had 1 in-person interview with the artistic director and outgoing executive director. So about a total of 5 interviews. Almost. We're still putting, one of the great things that they did was, Elizabeth did a lot of the programming of the pieces, but they really wanted to wait till I started to offer my input in finalizing the details to help make it my own. But we are almost there. We're just finalizing some venues, and hopefully we can release those details soon. That is very accurate. I've never seen anything like it myself. I've been involved in small events in people's homes, but people subscribe, so you can subscribe to 4, 6, or 8 of them, and there's even a waiting list of people to subscribe. We would love to have someone very dedicated to outreach. It's something that's the heart of our mission, but it's something that requires so much time and dedication. It would be wonderful for someone with an education and outreach background to be on staff. Occasionally we do, usually only 1 or 2 a season, but we love to promote our musicians here for sure. The Atlanta Chamber Players it's an incredible reputation they have. They've been around over 40 years. And the fact that everyone involved, it is a labor of love. The board not only financially contributes 100%, the hours they put in, the hours the musicians put in when they're working at the symphony or the opera. I don't understand how they can all of a sudden fit in, and sometimes very new pieces to them, pieces they've never seen before. So it's a labor of love with this organization. And though they have a really great reputation here in Atlanta is obviously a large population, and there's people that haven't heard of us yet, and we just need to find them.